When I came to the Philippines, I suddenly found myself in a situation where all of my Western comforts were stripped away and I was left to navigate the raw, humid reality of starting over as a stranger in a strange land, over 50 and alone. Today I'm going to talk about how I am rebuilding my entire life from scratch in the Philippines, over 50. When I came to the Philippines, I suddenly found myself in a situation where all of my Western comforts were stripped away, and I was left to navigate the raw, humid reality of starting over as a stranger in a strange land, over 50 and alone. In the West, I had a breaking point and a bold reset. I was facing the reality of retiring in a Western economy where a fixed pension no longer covered the cost of dignity. And what's that mean? It basically comes down to, I couldn't just sit around and wait to die. I'm 59, I'm turning 60 soon. I felt like in the West, I was just spinning my wheels. Dating wasn't hard for me, but at the same time, it wasn't enjoyable. I didn't like the options that were available to me in the West. You can take that for however you want to take it, but that's pretty much what the scene was. So I had to make a decision, and that decision involved me liquidating all my assets, ensuring I was debt-free. After making a couple of setback decisions, I ended up deciding that I was going to make the jump. I was going to get rid of everything and head to the Philippines. That decision meant selling a lifetime accumulation of comfort to fund a one-way ticket to Negros Oriental with only one suitcase and a backpack. The immediate sensory shock of landing in Dumaguete and realizing the gap between vacation and a permanent relocation, it weighs heavy on you, and you have to have the right mindset. That mindset is you're on a mission. You should have a set plan in place. That plan should entail accommodation for you, meaning some sort of shelter when you arrive at a hotel or Airbnb, whatever you decide to do. At that point, this is my plan, how I executed it. Once I had my accommodation, I rented a bike, a motorbike. 3 days later, I took the bike back and I went down to the Honda dealership and bought myself a motorbike, bought and paid for. So now I've secured shelter and I have transportation. We'll get more into transportation later in this video. I stayed in a hotel, and then I jumped from a hotel to an Airbnb. I booked the Airbnb for 30 days. Got the new bike, and at that point, my mission was clear. I had to find a residence. So I had already found a couple of realtors on Facebook, and I reached out to them on Messenger. Now, these were legitimate realtors. They had a long history on social media. You could see that they were credentialized over several years of handling rentals and sales in the Dumaguete area. So that was my plan. I stuck to it, and I think it was right at 3 weeks, I moved into where I am right now. I had a plan in place and I executed each step of it in a quick and timely fashion. And I think that's the best way to quickly get yourself into position to ease into the culture change that you are inevitably going to face. Navigating the aggressive local rental market to find a long-term home that balances safety with local immersion. So what exactly does that mean? Well, I wanted a place that had a few positives above and beyond just renting somewhere to live. Those positives that I wanted tied to my residence were, I wanted a safe residence, one where I could leave my personal property without fear of somebody climbing in a window and stealing everything. So I was looking for a gated suburban type of community neighborhood. So I wanted a gated community. So I relayed all this information to the realtor, and she helped me find several listings. And I spent the day going around looking at 3 or 4 places, decided on one of them, and proceeded with the paperwork and the deposits to make it happen. So that is how I approached my housing requirements. They had to fit into my life. It had to fit into my lifestyle, and it had to provide those little bits of criteria to make me feel comfortable that I was safe from theft and things of that nature. Now let's talk about the vague process of securing a motorbike. You need one. You need it to avoid relying on trikes, because relying on trikes is an isolating situation. Trikes, while they're great and they're very affordable, they're not the best way to get around by no means. They're slow. Even one that's in good repair, its top speed is maybe 20, 25 kilometers per hour, which equates to about 15 miles per hour. So that is a problem. Then you have a time span from when you request the trike to pick you up. If you call it in on Maxim or some sort of app that you can request them on. Maxim is the one here in Dumagetti. It's going to take them a few minutes to get to you, and sometimes they charge you to get to you and then charge you to take you where you're going. So while it's not expensive, it's very inhibiting. You got to get a trike to take you somewhere, then you got to get a trike to bring you back or take you to another location and take you whatever you're doing. If you're bar hopping, it can be quite the process to deal with trikes throughout an evening of doing that. The best thing to do in an area like Dumagetti is to go ahead and either long-term rent a motorbike or go purchase one outright. As far as the home goes, it allows you to establish a perimeter of normalcy while dealing with the heat, unpredictable brownouts, and the lack of familiar infrastructures. That means that it gives you a haven to deal with things that you're not used to dealing with. The brownouts, you don't want to sit in your house when it's just getting hotter and more humid and there's no air conditioning or lights. So in that situation, you'll want to just hop on your motorbike and go somewhere. Sometimes you can go to places that still have power and hang out there for as long as you need to. Or you may want to take the opportunity when you have a brownout to go to a place like Forest Camp or the Sulphur Vents or the Falls. Take a day hike on the falls, whatever it may be. I will also say, once you get here, a good investment would be perhaps some rechargeable flashlights. Get a couple of them in the event that you have a power outage during the nighttime in your house. And that way you can just turn them on and it will illuminate the room enough for you to navigate through your home. Then you have the whole aspect of surviving the friction of a new culture. Transitioning from the sterile predictability of Western supermarkets to chaotic, unpriced rhythm of the wet markets or the sardine flow of the major stores. Yeah, it's a definite difference in what you're used to from the West. The lines are long at the stores. There's no self-checkouts. The process of checking your items at the cashier is fairly slow, and then the process of paying is slow. So you have to adjust your mind to that. Anymore, I don't mind. I know I'm going to hit a long line if I go to Hypermart or Robinson's, and I'm fully prepared just to sit there and enjoy myself. I talk to folks, I look around, I don't care. So that's the mentality you just have to have, is you don't care. What do you need to go do? So so just embrace your patience and apply your patience to the situations of the culture. It just is. And as I've said before, and I think other people say too, I'm not here to fix the Philippines or its inefficiencies. I actually embrace them, and I find it endearing. So there's that. Navigating the wild, wild west turbid streets with little to no traffic control. Yeah, that's always fun. In fact, it's one of my favorite things to do here, is get on the bike and just get out in that traffic and have a good time weaving in and out, lane splitting, getting around, juking the trikes, juking the cars, getting around them, passing them on either side. It's a freedom, and while these things may hinder your progress, they also make your progress fun. So again, just like with going to the stores and whatnot, you just have to have the patience. You just have to have patience. And yeah, it's a ride out there, man. Let me tell you, it's a ride. You just have to overcome any initial frustration you may have of like island time, where simple tasks take hours and patience is the only currency that matters. So keep that in mind. Patience, patience, patience. It's all about mindset. And just relax. I mean, if you're living in the Philippines, you're obviously more or less retired. If you're over 50 living in the Philippines, I would hope you're retired, not a digital nomad or anything like that. And with that retirement comes a lot of free time. So use patience and exploit that free time in your favor. The last thing is that I kind of want to hit on is a financial and emotional audit. After you get here, the financials reveal themselves to be much in your favor, much in your favor. Of course, you can live here for about 30% of what you pay in the United States. Of course you can. And that gives you a freedom, man. It's liberating. If you were just scratching by month to month in the States, here, as long as you live within your financial resources, you're going to do awesome with your money here. But there can be a trade-off there, and one thing each man or woman has to decide on, is it worth the emotional burdens that you may incur. What I mean by that is you're leaving a lot of things behind. You're leaving friends that you've had for many, many years. You're leaving your family. These things can weigh on you. If you dwell on them and you fail to embrace the positivities of the Philippines, they will weigh on you, and they can be heavy enough to put your ass on a return flight. So keep that in mind. It's an emotional toll if you're not prepared for it. So that's definitely one to be aware of. There's also a physical toll. The humidity and The heat of the day, coupled with the humidity, it can wear on you. It can wear on you. The rains can keep you between the heat of the day. And when I say heat of the day, I mean from about noon till 4 in the afternoon. The heat of the day, the humidity, and the rains. So the first two are self-explanatory as far as, if you're not used to a warm, humid climate, it can weigh on you physically. But then, you do decide to bust out and hop on the motorbike and you're going places and going somewhere, and out of nowhere, it's nothing but a tropical downpour. And I mean a downpour. I personally, I enjoy it. I don't care if I get totally soaked. The rains here feel so good. And you just, you get wet. You're going to get wet just trying to find a place to pull under to, get some cover. But once you're wet and you just cool down, and it's a wonderful feeling. But where it can be a problem is if you're not headed home, if you're headed somewhere and you get rained on. So I recommend, what I do is I keep a rain suit on the bike, and then I also keep a dry shirt on the bike. So I can always change if, my pants or shorts may be wet, my socks and shoes may be wet, whatever, but at least I, will have a dry shirt when I walk into a place. I'm at the point where at 90 days, actually I'm getting close to 120 days in country. I'm at the point where I'm deciding if the trade-off of comfort and familiarity for the adventure of coming to the Philippines with a lower cost of living and a completely new lifestyle in a completely new culture, I sometimes wonder if it was the correct calculated risk, or if it's just a beautiful mistake. But I can honestly say that as the sun is setting on 120 days here, 4 months, that I regret none of it. It's been absolutely wonderful. I'm loving it. I love everything about the country, its culture, and I love being free of the weight of the West. So I hope you've enjoyed the information I've provided here. Of course, this is all from my perspective and opinions on things. I'm not an expert on life in the Philippines. I don't claim to be. This is purely me talking to you about what I've experienced here. So if you've stayed this long, please subscribe, hit the like button. I look forward to the next video with you. And stay tuned, turn the notifications on so you know when I schedule my live streams. Until then, you guys are awesome. Have a great day.